Don't be afraid of the dark. Just relax and let the darkness fall over you.
Welcome to Afraidish, a podcast where every 4 episodes we venture to a new state and take a deep dive into the history and paranormal while enjoying some tasty adult beverages. From ghost sightings to hauntings, urban legends and cryptids, let's get weird and Afraidish together. Hi, I'm Paul.
And I'm Ashley.
Welcome to episode 20, or episode 4 of Texas.
Woo woo!
So
what?
This is going to be Ashley's episode.
I am so sorry. I'm sorry.
Stop saying sorry.
Well, I'm just like the least organized person, so even though I have only the best of intentions, this story's probably going to be a jumbled little mess. So just buckle up, buttercup.
That's fine. So, after this episode, we will have another bonus episode for Arkansas, and then we're going to get to the local stories and...
Yeah, we're coming home.
Yeah.
So, if anybody has any personal experiences or know anybody who may have some interesting stories to tell, whether it's ghosts, cryptids, aliens...
Yeah, we'll get into that at the end of the episode.
Okay.
Like we always do. That's fine.
Yeah.
Tell them twice.
Hey, people need to hear things on average 12 times before they make a decision.
Yeah. And let's get into 5 fun facts about Texas. 5 fun facts. Number 1. Texas is renowned for its mouth-watering barbecue.
Yep.
But many may not realize that no single style of Texas barbecue reigns supreme.
Nope.
While Central Texas barbecue is the most popular style, where the meat takes center stage and sauce is kept to a minimum, regional variations add to the diversity of this beloved cuisine.
I like a saucy barbecue.
Yeah?
I can appreciate a dry rub, but I like a saucy barbecue.
In East Texas... I wasn't done.
I'm sorry.
In East Texas, for example, barbecue is commonly served chopped up and nestled in a bun with a generous helping of sauce, which sounds yummy.
And coleslaw and pickles.
Yes. Love coleslaw on my barbecue.
Mm.
Over in West Texas, barbacoa, made from cow's head, is a favorite among locals and visitors alike.
I want to try that.
That is good.
Have you tried it?
Mm-hmm. It's really good.
Did you get it when we were in Texas visiting your sister?
I think so. I can't remember. But I've had it before.
The barbecue restaurant pissed me off, but their food was good.
Yeah.
All
right.
You done?
Yes.
Okay.
Number 2. The majestic King Ranch, situated in the charming town of Kingsville, boasts an impressive size that surpasses that of the entire state of Rhode Island.
What?
With over 825,000 acres of sprawling land, the ranch houses an extensive collection of over 200 quarter horses. I wonder where the other parts of the horse are. And
what is a quarter horse? Because I'm not an equestrian.
I think a quarter horse is like maybe a show horse. I haven't looked it up.
Okay.
Fancy name, I guess. I don't know.
Sure.
And more than 35,000 heads of cattle.
Just the heads?
Just the heads.
Okay.
The ranch's vast expanse extends across 6 counties and was recognized as a National Historic Landmark in 1961.
That's so excessive.
Additionally, the Windmill Farm is an awe-inspiring site covering an area that is approximately 7 times bigger than the bustling metropolis of Manhattan.
Is that the one we drove through on your way to your sister's?
Yep.
On our way to your sister's?
Yeah.
That was a nightmare-inducing experience for me.
That was pretty wild.
I was stoned out of my gourd on edibles. And, paranoid about Texas police officer. I was monitoring Paul's speed very closely because I was like, if you get pulled over, I'm going to jail because I'm high. And we're in Texas. Very, very extremely paranoid. And I start looking out at these fields of these wind turbines, and the only thing that I could think was, that looks like a field full of Slendermen doing cartwheels.
It really did.
But nightmare fuel. Nightmare fuel. So you're welcome if you are driving through Texas. Drive through the Slenderman fields.
It's pretty crazy.
Ugh. Don't like it.
Yep. Number 3. The Guadalupe Mountains in western Texas are quite remarkable. They are the northernmost extension of the rugged Sierra Madre Oriental Range and are a designated national park, preserving the natural beauty of this unique region. Within this park lies the awe-inspiring Guadalupe Peak, which rises to an impressive height of 8,751 feet,
Whoa!
making it the highest point in Texas.
Damn, son.
With its majestic presence and stunning views, it's no wonder why the Guadalupe Mountains are a popular destination for adventurers and nature enthusiasts alike.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I forget that there's mountains in Texas, but that makes sense because I'm aware of, like, New Mexico having mountains.
Yeah. Yep. Number 4. The bustling streets of downtown Fort Worth are a sight to behold, with the majestic presence of cattle that roam the city every day at precisely 11:30 a.m. and 4 p.m.
No, ma'am.
A herd of 17 Texas Longhorns gracefully parade through the city's streets. Each of these cattle represent a decade from the city's rich past, making the event a truly momentous occasion.
No.
For those who wish to catch a glimpse of these spectacle... For those who wish to catch a glimpse of this spectacle, simply head over to the sidewalks of East Exchange Avenue, where you can witness this awe-inspiring sight at no cost. That'd be fun to watch.
I mean, they're Longhorn, right?
Yeah.
So...
I showed you a picture of them.
Yes, I am aware of what Longhorn look like. I don't want to see 18 murder machines.
17, and they're not bulls. They're...
Steers?
Well...
Steers have the...
I don't know. Yeah.
You're a steer.
Pretty much. Yeah, I am.
I'm sorry, you can cut that out if you want.
Snip, clipped, soldered, and scraped.
Snap.
I tried to... Funny story, I tried to tell somebody at work that... It's like, I was just going on a rant, and that came up. I was like, yeah, I got snip, clipped, soldered, scraped. The smell was kind of terrible. The doctor wanted me to sit up and watch. I'm like, I tried. And then I leaned back and I'm like, no.
You tried to watch?
Yeah. Because I was awake. It was all
well, I know you were awake, but like... He wanted you to just like sit straight up while
like,
he's...
He's like, well, if you want to watch, you can. I'm like, I tried. I'm like, oh, no thanks. So I just laid there. He's like, well, if you feel any pain, just let me know and I'll numb you some more.
How long did it feel like you were in there for?
Like, about 30 minutes. But...
You were there for like 20 minutes. It was so fast.
Yeah.
Killian and I just had him in this. Yeah, he was like 3 months old. Yeah. It was the morning we got back from San Antonio. Yeah. You had like 2 hours sleep. You had to be up at 6 a.m.
Yeah, that's...
You were falling asleep in the pharmacy at Price Cutter waiting on your prescription. I took Killian. We went to go get your prescription at Price Cutter, and you sat in the chairs at the Price Cutter and at the pharmacy. And Killian and I went around and we did some grocery. I bought you some corn, some frozen corn for your nuts.
Yep.
And some donuts for everybody at the house.
Yeah.
I come back and you're just slumped over in the chair.
I don't remember that. Yep. Sounds like me.
Yep, that is you with no sleep, for sure.
Yep. All right, enough of that. Number 5.
More fun facts.
More fun facts about me.
Fun facts about Paul.
I can't get pregnant. Number 5. It is required by law in Texas to provide 24-hour notice, either orally or in writing, before committing a crime.
You told me this one already. What the fuck?
There's a few of these screwed up laws that I have in this.
I just want to know, like, what the scenario was, who they were trying to trick
This measure
into
was
confessing.
This measure was implemented with the intention of curbing theft.
Yeah.
So they assume, like, if we make this law, people are gonna...
The law is already not to steal. People are breaking that law. Do you think they're going to follow the law that says if you plan to steal, give 24 hours notice? What?
Politicians are some kind of special.
Oh my god.
And not in a good way.
Really, when you think about the fact that they're just fucking people, just like you and I, and they can be smart, but even smart people aren't always smart, and a lot of people aren't as smart as they think they're smart.
Yep.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Despite its peculiarity, certain laws can still hold reasonable significance. One such example is the law in Texarkana, which decrees that horses can only be ridden at night if they have taillights.
Texarkana, that's a town on the Texas Arkansas. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, tail lights. Is there like a regulation tail lights, or can you take like battery powered fairy lights and like braid it in your horse's tail?
That would be fun. I'm pretty sure you can do that. as long as there are lights on the horse's ass, or the horse's ass.
The horse's ass.
Yeah. Anyway, those are 5 fun facts. All right, what are we drinking today? Well,
Paul, we are drinking a conglomeration.
Yes, we are.
It's the definition of a mixed drink. So I got these Santa Cruz organic lemonades from Mama Jean's on sale. This one is mango lemonade. And we added some Jose Cuervo margarita mix and some Jose Cuervo silver tequila.
Yes, we did. And I'm on my second glass.
Well, I'm also on my second glass, but I haven't taken the first sip of my second glass, so.
I put a lot of tequila in mine.
Good for you. That's
and
fun.
I'm feeling good. All right, now, this is all you.
Okay, great. Thanks. So, I want to take you on a little journey back to 1718, Texas. In 1718, Catholic missionaries, at the behest of the Spanish government, established several missions along the banks of the San Antonio River. Tonight, we will be deep diving into the history of the first and most important of these missions.
Nice.
Named Mission San Antonio de Valero after St. Anthony of Padua, the Viceroy of New Spain, the Marquis of Valero. This new mission was founded by Franciscan Friar Antonio de San Buenaventura y Alivere and was originally constructed out of mud, brush, and straw. Over the course of the next few years, the location of the mission would move to various places along the banks of the river, finally settling on its current location. The mission's goal was to convert the local native tribes, the Coahuilticans, to Catholicism, as well as to serve as sort of a town and cultural center. They had other missions towards the east of Texas, and most of their settlements were 400 miles away along the Rio Grande River. So these missions along the San Antonio River were kind of way stations between those further east missions and the settlements along the Rio Grande for provisions and things like that.
Yeah.
By the end of the 18th century, most of the local native people had already been converted to Christianity, So the mission was secularized in 1793, and it was promptly abandoned because the locals didn't really have any use for the 3-acre complex with its 30-something buildings. Which, to me, that just seems like a waste of space. You got it, use it.
Yeah.
But you know what? It could have meant something to them, unsavory. So, no, I'm not judging. In 1803, the abandoned complex was occupied by the 2nd Flying Company of San Carlos de Parras from Alamo de Parras in Coahuila. They were often referred to by the locals as Alamo Company. And so it's from them that the Alamo gets its name. From 1806 to 1812, it was San Antonio's first hospital. During the War of Mexican Independence, the compound served mostly as a political prison. And then in 1821, it was transferred to Mexican control after Mexico won its independence from the Spanish crown. In 1828, French naturalist Jean-Louis Berlandier, it's French, so sorry, wrote of the mission complex an enormous... What? Oh, spell check. It says betterment. That's not... An enormous battlement and some barracks are found there, as well as the ruins of a church, which could pass for one of the loveliest monuments of the area, even if its architecture is overloaded with ornamentation, like all of the ecclesiastical buildings of the Spanish colonies. That's some shots fired from the French to the Spanish.
Yeah.
During the Texas Revolution, the fort was occupied by General Martin Perfecto de Cos and his garrison. During the time, General Cos ordered several improvements to the Alamo. They demolished some stone arches on the top that they believe had originally been intended for a chapel dome. And they used the rubble from those arches to build a ramp up the back of the chapel building, which is where the soldiers would position their cannons so they could fire safely over the walls. They also built a palisade between the chapel and the long barracks, which had originally served as a covenant building. In December of 1835, General Cos surrendered to the Texans and abandoned the Alamo along with its 19 cannons.
Yeah.
The abandonment of General Cos and his forces meant that Mexico no longer had any organized military operation in Texas, which made the Texans believe that the war was over. Colonel James C. Neal and 100 Texan soldiers occupied the Alamo. Neal requested an additional 200 men in hopes to be able to fortify the fortress. He thought that they would basically be starved to death after only a 4-day siege.
Wow.
So he was trying to get the new Texan government to send reinforcements, but the Texan government was kind of a hot mess at the time, and they couldn't spare the excess troops. So Neal and a man named Green B. That's incorrect. Jameson. Wow, my spell check is killing me tonight. Green B. Jameson, an engineer, began the work of fortifying the fortress and installing the cannons that were left behind by Cos and his men. General Sam Houston had at one point ordered Colonel James Bowie to take about 35 to 50 men to go basically dismantle the Alamo, move all of the ammunitions out, and destroy the building. But they didn't have enough mules to move the ammo. And Neal convinced Bowie that the Alamo had strategic importance. So they eventually were able to pass a resolution to hold the fortress. And then shortly after the resolution was passed, things were starting to heat up again with the Mexican army. And so Neil left to try to get more supplies and additional reinforcements. He left William Travis and James Bowie in command of the Alamo in his absence. In early January of 1836, famous frontiersman and former U.S. Congressman from Tennessee, Davy Crockett, enlisted in the Texan Army along with some of his friends and one of his nephews. There's a misconception that he brought in like this cavalry troop or something. Right. It was just a couple of his buddies from Tennessee. It wasn't like a big thing. So he enlisted in hopes of serving a short term in exchange for land holdings. In February, Crockett was sent to San Antonio as a member of Captain William B. Harrison's company of volunteers, and they would be stationed at the Alamo. On February 23rd, of 1836, President General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna arrived in San Antonio with his troops. They had one goal, and that was to recapture the Alamo for Mexico. For the next 13 days, Santa Anna and his men laid siege on the Alamo, periodically bombarding the very thin surrounding walls with cannon fire. And then they had at one point tried to block the irrigation ditch leading to the fort. So Jameson ordered his men to dig a well on the south end of the plaza. The construction of this well inadvertently weakened a rampart, causing it to collapse, leaving no way for them to safely be able to fire over that wall. So that wall was basically almost breached, for lack of better term. On the morning of March 6th, Santa Anna ordered his men to attack at daybreak, catching the Alamo defenders off guard. So apparently the night before, around 10 p.m., or before 10 p.m., they had been assaulting with heavy cannon fire, and then at 10 p.m., Santa Anna called a ceasefire, and the defenders of the Alamo actually got like a good night's sleep. Nice. Until early the next morning, when they hear "Viva Santa Anna!" and the Mexican army was attacking. So that clued them in that they were officially under attack, and after 90 minutes of fighting, every single one of the Texan soldiers would be dead.
That's shitty. But that's Indeed. Part of war. Well, pretty much.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about my thoughts on war right now. Yeah. Got lots of them. But anyway, at the end of the fighting... during the battle, most of the Texans fell back either into the barracks or the chapel, barricading themselves inside the rooms. James Bowie was sick in bed with typhoid when the Mexicans entered his room.
I think he's named after... the Bowie knife is named after him.
Oh, yeah?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Oh!
It's pretty cool.
It didn't come up in any of my research, but...
I could be wrong.
You know, you could also be right. I don't know. I have no way of fact-checking you right now, so...
I'll look it up.
He is reported to have fired at the Mexican army relentlessly until they eventually overpowered him and stabbed him to death with the ends of their bayonets.
Oh, that is crazy.
Yeah. Davy Crockett died outside the chapel doors. He is said to have raised his musket over his head and just start bashing in his opponents with it like a bat. At the end of the fighting, not a single Texan was spared. Santa Anna had vowed to spare no one, take no prisoners, everyone dies, and he made good on that promise. There was only the only survivors were a handful of civilians and a gentleman named Joe who had been an enslaved person with General Travis. the bodies of... Apparently this didn't make it into my notes, but I do want to make note that it is because of Joe that we have as much information as to what happened inside of the Alamo as we do.
Wow, that's really cool. He
is one of the most important primary sources for information on that day, so I want to highlight his part. He was spared because Santa Anna figured since he was a slave, he had no choice in fighting, so he could not be blamed for his actions since he couldn't do anything else. So that was the one mercy that Santa Anna showed that day. And then, of course, there were the women and the children who were spared as well. The bodies of the dead Texans were either burned in a funeral piled on top of each other and burned. Some were buried in a mass grave, and they believe some may have even been dumped into the San Antonio River as well. There is, to this day, they're unsure of where the mass grave might be, although if they really wanted to find out, they probably could get some geophys or something in there and find it. So, kind of weird to me that in 2023, they still don't know where the grave is located. Huh. Like, dude, you can find it. I promise.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. Following the Battle of the Alamo, it would remain a military fort. The Mexican army remained until their defeat at the Battle of San Jacinto, where Santa Anna was captured. And then the Alamo would change hands back and forth between Mexico and America, or the new Republic of Texas, until January 13th, 1841, when the Republic of Texas legislature returned the sanctuary of the Alamo to the Catholic Church, but the site was neglected and ended up being used by more military as barracks and stuff.
Yeah. So the Bowie knife was named after legendary frontiersman James Bowie, most likely following the much publicized Mississippi Vidalia sandbar duel of 1827 involving Bowie and his rival Major Norris Wright.
Fascinating.
That's pretty cool.
What is it with men and duels?
Back in the day, you know.
Fucking Hamilton and, oh my god, Burr.
Yeah, Aaron Burr. Yeah.
Aaron Burr. Like, and just like...
It's pretty crazy. So,
why?
We've seen the show Hamilton on Disney Plus. It's crazy that Hamilton wasn't able to run for president because he had an affair and all that jazz. But
and then fast forward to 2016.
I know.
And the biggest philanderer in America gets elected president.
Yeah. That was a fucking joke. That shouldn't have happened, period.
It shouldn't have, but it did.
Yeah.
And it can happen again.
Let's hope
God
it doesn't.
Help us all.
Yes. Anyway. Sorry.
Anyway, during the American Civil War, the Alamo was occupied by the Confederate Army because, of course, Texas sided with the Confederacy.
Of course they did.
After the war, the American Army retook control of the site until the Catholic Church requested the Army to vacate the premises so that they could reclaim it as a place of worship for German Catholics. The Army refused to leave.
Yep.
In 1876, Fort Sam Houston was established in San Antonio, leading the Army to abandon the Alamo in favor of the new constructed fort. The church then sold the convent to, oh my gosh, I don't know how to pronounce this, Honor Grenet, who used it as a wholesale grocery business. Huh. After Grenet's death, the mercantile firm Hugo and Schmelzer purchased his business and continued to operate the store. By 1877, the first rail service began operating in San Antonio, leading to an increase in tourism. In an effort to attract more tourists, the city advertised the Alamo. They used photographs and drawings that depicted only the chapel, making it look a little bit more secluded than it actually was, which led to some disappointment among tourists. In 1877, tourist Harrier P. Spofford wrote that the chapel was, quote, a reproach to all San Antonio. Its wall overthrown and removed. Its dormitories are piled with military stores. Its battle-scarred front has been revamped and repainted, and market carts roll to and fro on the spot where flames ascended over the funeral pyre of heroes. That's like... That's like a 1 star, could give 0.
Yeah.
Eventually, in 1904, the Daughters of the Republic of Texas were able to purchase the Alamo and began restoring it to how it would have looked in 1836. The purchase saved it from certain demolition at the hands of a contractor, and there would be some bickering back and forth among members of the Daughters of the Republic as to what to do with the Alamo. One person wanted to tear some of it down and put up new stuff, and other people, of course, wanted to preserve it as it would have been on the day of the battle.
Right.
I think that camp won, although is it really, like, can it ever be exactly how it was on the day of the battle? I don't think
Probably
so.
not. I think they also had a police station in there at one time, and
I didn't come across anything like that, but also by the time I got to the Daughters of the Republic, I was kind of over the shits. And the Alamo was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2015.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think they tried to have a police station in there.
That makes sense. I mean,
but I'm
propaganda.
I'm going to read some ghost sightings.
Oh.
I guarantee you that they had to leave it because
it was haunted.
It was haunted.
It was haunted. Those haunts.
So many fucking haunted.
There's so many.
So many.
So Paul did the haunting research for me because I'm busy and have ADHD. So thank you, babe.
You're welcome.
So it's all you.
So
you can't see my gesture.
All right. So that was a lot of history. I'm sure there's a lot more that she couldn't get to. And there's
chose
a lot
not to get to.
Yeah. There's a lot more hauntings that I couldn't get to because if I talked about every single haunting,
it's pretty fucking haunted. I mean, if you
yeah,
think about its history prior to the Catholics building on the site, everything that was going on between the colonizers and the native tribes, and
and like to build that site, Native American or the natives, because actually it was owned by Mexico at the time.
Yes,
all the natives
borders are fake, but
pushed out way before America took over. So here are, and now for the hauntings. Okay, let's get to it. The first reported sighting of the ghostly activity happened only weeks after the battle.
Yes.
After the Battle of San Jacinto, Santa Anna sent troops to destroy Alamo. When the Mexican troops neared the church with flaming torches, 6 fully formed flaming spirits suddenly appeared before the front doors of the mission. Their bodies on fire and yelling, "Do not touch the Alamo! Do not touch these walls!" The Mexicans fled in fear and would not be persuaded to return.
Yeah, Santa Anna kind of threw a little hissy fit over that. He was like, "Get your ass back there and do that shit!" And then another group came.
Yeah. And
it was different. They weren't on fire, but it was a similar situation. And they were like, "Nope, not doing it. Nope, not doing it."
I wouldn't go back like that. No.
Fuck this shit! This is above my pay grade.
Yeah, I don't know if I have this in it, but it's said that those spirits are the defenders or the priests.
Oh yes, there is a theory that the Franciscan priests would have possibly, it was their spirits. Yes.
Today, there are countless ghost sightings at the Alamo. Often spotted in the gardens next to the mission appears the fully formed spirit of a cowboy, complete with a black duster and cowboy hat.
Ah.
Dripping wet, he is described as looking like he has ridden through a severe thunderstorm. Many Texas historians theorize that the spirit may have been one of 22 dispatched riders that William Travis sent seeking assistance.
Yeah.
Could be.
The last rider left the morning of March 6th.
Right.
March 5th. So the battle, I don't know if I said the date. The actual fighting took place on the morning of March 6th. The morning of March 5th was the last person that left the Alamo. He was a courier trying to ask for reinforcements.
Yeah. A second entity that makes his presence known is that of an Alamo defender who is often reported to stick his head and shoulders out of the large rectangular window over the double doors at the front of the church. After leaning out and scoping the area, he then leans back and disappears. It's pretty wild.
Poking his head out to see what the Mexican army's doing?
Yeah, probably. One of the most often cited ghosts is that of a small blonde-haired boy that is most often seen in the left upstairs window, which houses the gift shop today.
Yes. We went to the gift shop. I don't remember it being upstairs.
I don't remember.
I can't find our Alamo magnet either. I don't know what happened to it.
I pulled it off the fridge when we got the new one.
Yeah, and now I can't find it to put it on the new one.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Yeah, anyway, we'll get to that, yeah.
Anyways. Appearing almost always during the first few weeks of February, the forlorn-looking boy has also been seen wandering the grounds of the complex. Some believe that the boy was evacuated during the siege and returns annually to search for his long-lost father who died in the battle.
No, the women and children were there during the battle.
Right. A woman is also reported to have been seen next to the water well on the other side of the church. Appearing only at night, reports allege that she materializes only as a vaporous, torso-like spirit. No one knows who this restless blah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, a little bit tipsy. No one knows who this restless apparition might have been. In an area of the mission which is today utilized for storage and meetings, staff have often encountered a tall, it says Indian, but it's Native American who silently creeps up behind them. After having felt a presence, they turn to see the broad-chested Native American who suddenly disappears or walks back through a solid wall that once held a tunnel doorway to the Menger Hotel across the street.
Oh!
Due to these many sightings, staff often report being afraid to enter the basement. And so I didn't put this in my notes because he is a very racist person.
Oh, yeah.
The Duke.
Oh.
Well, John Wayne.
Yes.
So he was filming the Alamo.
Okay.
And he was very obsessed with the actual Alamo.
Yes.
And he kept visiting. And I guess after he died, people have seen his ghost.
People are seeing John Wayne at the Alamo. I mean, I guess I get it if he was obsessed, because he was like I'm using air quotes here, cowboys and Indians.
I am not a fan at all.
No.
Never have been. No. He is one of the most racist actors there ever was against Native Americans. I don't know. Have you heard during some kind of ceremony. What was it?
Like an award ceremony or a powwow?
An award ceremony.
Okay. Either could be a ceremony.
There was a Native American woman speaking.
Okay.
And he tried to rush and tackle her. And
what?
People had to stop him. He was that racist against Native Americans, yeah.
Wow. Like, dude, they were here first.
Yeah, I know.
Like, fuck you.
And anybody says that they like John Wayne, oh, I'm a fan of John Wayne. I love John Wayne.
I mean...
I'm like, come on.
They're just... A lot of them are people, they don't care to learn the truth because their fantasy is preferable to them. And it's like, God bless you and your fucking ignorant innocence, I'll say.
Right.
Like, trying to be innocent, but you know it's not innocent. Because you know deep down. But anyway.
Yeah.
So people are seeing John Wayne's ghost at the Alamo.
Supposedly, yeah.
Interessante.
I mean, like I've said before, I think I've said it, that your spirit can be like in multiple places at once. Like if you visited, like, say the Alamo, or and then your in his case, your mansion in California. I mean, you could be everywhere. Yes, you're no longer corporeal. You are no longer bound to the limits of time and space. Right. If you exist at all, and it's not just memories of you in the places that you physically were, and maybe had strong emotional reactions. So, like, for me personally, when we went to I know we're kind of interrupting. We were going to talk about this a little later. When we went to the Alamo, I had a very strong emotional reaction. We could talk about it now. I'm done. Oh, you're done with your hauntings? Yeah. So there is one haunting that I want to talk about, and this one kind of got me. It's really sad. People who stay in the Minger Hotel across the plaza from the Alamo will often look out their windows in the night to see a tall man and a child, a young boy, climbing up onto a parapet that no longer exists. Oh, yeah, I read that. I don't know why I didn't put that in my notes. The man embraces the boy, stands up, and then with the boy in his arms jumps... Yeah. Presumably to his death. Their death. Right. And that's a residual haunting because it happens over and over again. It would have probably happened during the siege. Yeah. If it happened. That's pretty sad. There's no reporting of that because there were survivors of the battle. Like I said, the man Joe and then the women and children. There were people that survived the battle. And maybe they have talked about it, but I personally didn't come across any accounts that talked about any suicides leading up to the siege. Yeah. But I didn't scour the internet. Yeah. So, who knows? You never know. I mean, some historians, or not historians, but people that were there probably don't talk about that kind of stuff. I don't know. I mean, like I said, it was from Joe that we know as much as we do know about the fighting. Yeah. And there were women and children there. And in fact, the Texans did at one point send a woman out to attempt to negotiate a surrender with the Mexican army. And Santa Anna flat out refused. He would not take any surrender. Death and bloodshed. That was his only... That's all he would accept. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So, and I don't know, maybe they didn't talk about it. Yeah. But you think at some point somebody's got some kind of deathbed confessional. Yeah. Shit. If I'm on my deathbed and I saw something like that and I hadn't told a soul, I'm telling people on my deathbed. Like, supposedly on your deathbed, that's when you see all the paranormal shit, like all the... Oh, no, I'm not even talking, like... No, I know. I witnessed these things and I've never told a soul. I know. But yes, when you're close to death, some people believe that you are more open to... Because you're preparing to cross the veil so you can see into it. Like the show on the ghosts, where she gets to see the ghosts. Oh, yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about?
One of our favorite shows.
Yeah, no, for some reason my brain didn't.
We were just watching it.
I know, we were. But for some reason I was like, surely he's not talking about a new show.
No. So, were you going to talk about what we did when we were there, or?
So, our trip to San Antonio, in 2017? It was the year Killian was born.
Remember,
he was 3 months old.
Remember, because I got a vasectomy the day after we got back.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we went to San Antonio to see my brother graduate from Air Force Basic Military Training. There's the big base down there. It's, oh my God, what's the name of that base? It's Joint AFB.
Oh my God.
Something.
I can't remember.
It's 2 bases that are combined. It's like Air Force and Army or something. I don't know.
Anyway, I remember we liked the food there, the cafeteria thing.
Yeah, that was fun.
Place, yeah.
The mess hall or the fancy cafeteria?
Fancy cafeteria.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which wasn't very fancy. It was just a buffet.
Yeah.
But anyway. So, for me, when we stayed in San Antonio, we stayed at the hotel that was literally, we could walk to one of the gates, one of the side gates, not the main gate to the base.
Right.
But it was one of the side gates to the base. We could walk there from our hotel room if we wanted to. And in the mornings, I liked to get up early because you could stand out on the, it's not a balcony because it was an outdoor motel type.
Yeah.
But the second floor walkway, and you could see one of the tracks, and you could hear the airmen doing their little chants as they ran around the track every morning. So that was really cool. We also were walking distance from an HEB on the other side of the hotel. So that was a really big deal for us. That Tres Leches cake, I have yet to have one superior to that.
Yeah.
That was so good. But anyway, while we were down in San Antonio for my brother's Air Force graduation, we did go to the Alamo.
Yes.
And I don't remember just a lot of that day. If I really sit and think about it, I can recall things. But the chapel was probably the most poignant experience for me.
Yeah.
And the gardens outside. Because when you're waiting to go inside, they have this like big, those little things that snake around to queue. And part of it takes you through the side of the garden. Right. And being out in the garden, and especially being out in front of the chapel doors and then inside the chapel doors, was very electronically charged for me. I don't know if it's just the energy of the place, if it's because it's made of stone. I don't know if it was just like my psyche being like, this is like a big deal, I always remain agnostic in all of those types of situations. Could be the mixture
of anticipation and the feeling of the energy and lots of people there.
But I do remember being in the chapel, which, it's like a museum. It is a museum. Yeah. So they have like display cases and things. So it's not like you can't just forget that you're in a museum. Like you are constantly being reminded that this is a museum, but the energy really wants to suck you in and take you back. Yeah. Like the space wants you to forget that you're in a museum. And, they tell you not to touch the walls. Yeah. But of course I fucking touched the walls.
It's very beautiful inside. If anybody gets a chance and you're in San Antonio for anything, visit the Alamo. It is amazing.
It's one of those things that really makes you stop and think. I mean, on the one hand, for me personally, like, I can have empathy for the defenders while also being like, dude, you're on stolen land, man.
Right, yeah.
Like, this shouldn't have fucking happened, period. Spain shouldn't have been there. There shouldn't have been, like, any of this.
Yep.
But, alas, can't have anything nice.
Yeah, that's what colonizers and basically anything basically if anybody wants anything, they're going to take it with war.
But anyway, like, you know, the defenders of the Alamo, they truly believed that they were doing the right thing. Whether it was actually the right thing or not, that is not for me to decide. Right. Not being indigenous to this continent. But they did believe that they were doing the right thing, and they died for what they believed in. So, like, part of me has empathy and feels for them, but at the same time, it's like,
right,
you shouldn't have been here in the first place.
Right. I mean, it is what it is. It's part of history, and it is.
You can't change history.
Right. It's a beautiful place. Yeah.
It's very energetically charged if you're open to that kind of thing. I know not everybody is. Sometimes when I talk about my experiences and things, people look at me like I'm fucking crazy. And to be perfect, like, I've never had, like, a ghost encounter.
Right.
But I purposefully keep myself kind of blocked to those. Like, I don't allow it to happen. And some people might think that that's because I'm, like, afraid, or I don't want to.
Right. So, I don't think we've touched on this. Have you ever had a paranormal experience?
Yes.
Like what?
Well, it depends on your definition of paranormal. If you have a very loose definition of paranormal, then yes, I've had a lot. Any historical place that I've ever been to, I have had, quote, normal experiences.
Right.
In terms of, like, seeing ghosts with my physical eyeballs, never. Seeing things in my mind's eye, fucking all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
I have. I touched this in episode 2 with my cousin, Andrew. I talked about filming my grandma in my kitchen in my first apartment.
Yeah.
And then when Kendra, my first wife, passed away, seeing her in a dream, basically having
in a dream,
out-of-body experience, seeing her rub my back and actually feeling it.
Oh.
Yeah.
She was, like, comforting you in your grief. Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet.
Literally right after she passed away, I was, like, my first night there.
At the apartment?
Yeah, before I stayed with her brother.
Okay.
Because after that, I couldn't stay there for a while.
Oh, yeah. It was after this experience?
Yeah.
Because I knew you couldn't stay in the apartment. I just thought that you never, after she passed, you didn't stay there.
I think I stayed there, like, 1 or 2 nights, and it was, like, really tough.
Yeah.
So.
Man, yeah.
Crazy. Funnily enough, like, not funny, but I talked to the manager of the apartment complex / owner at the time. He knew us. He was pretty good friends.
Right.
And he told me, you know what? She went ahead and paid for a couple of months' rent when I know she didn't.
Oh.
So he helped me out a lot. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool. Anyways.
Well, so I've had a couple of experiences. When we first moved into this house, I went and sat and meditated under the maple tree way in the back of the yard.
Okay. Yeah.
And during that meditation, I saw, like, a stream of spirits passing through what used to be the vacant lot behind our house.
Right.
So not through our yard exactly, but the lot that's there's a house on it now. But I saw, it was just like humanoid figures just kind of like flowing through the field.
So what she's talking about is we're basically in the middle of what used to be a Civil War battle zone.
So we're about 1 mile to 2 miles to the west.
Actually, I calculated about 4 to 9 miles.
Okay.
4 miles?
I don't know. It's very close.
Anyways. I think it's called like Bloody Hill or some shit like that. The actual hill.
Wilson's Creek Battlefield, yes. Bloody Hill,
yeah.
yes. I've been there. I had an experience there.
Yeah.
But so it's almost like we live on, I don't want to say a ley line, because I don't believe that we live on a ley line.
Right.
But like a thoroughfare for lost souls.
Yeah.
Or maybe not lost souls. I don't know. But that was really creepy. And I did not like that.
Yeah.
So, and then used to be when I was working at Grove Spa, I would come home a lot of times down Highway ZZ.
Yeah.
And you directly past the battlefield. Like the battlefield is on Highway ZZ.
Yeah.
And at the intersection of ZZ and I think it's Elm Street, which is the road that you would turn onto to go to the battlefield. There was always one particular spirit that I would see in my mind's eye.
Same.
Oh my God.
Exit there's an exit that comes out of the battlefield.
Yes.
He stands there.
In the road.
I saw it too.
Oh my God.
Yeah. In my mind's eye,
it's real.
He stands there with like a.
He's got his pack and his gun slung over his Oh my God.
FYI, we haven't really talked about this.
No.
So we saw basically the same spirit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping I was imagining it.
No. He's like in my mind's eye every time I pass that area. He's standing like almost. It's
almost
guard.
Like he's trying to catch a ride.
Yeah.
To me, like it feels like he's trying to catch a ride, and I've like actually physically said, like, no, you can't come with me.
Yeah.
Driving past there.
That's pretty wild.
Oh, I don't like that. But it's only at night.
Yeah.
It's only at dark. It's only after dark. Like, I can drive past that spot 5 times during the daytime. And I'm aware that I've seen him, but it's not the same. It's not the same feeling.
Yeah. I've also seen one that stands guard at that exit area.
I think we're talking about the same one.
Yeah. Well, the one I see stands guard with like a rifle on his arm.
Yeah.
Like he's just standing guard.
Is he in the road?
No. He's at the exit there.
Oh, okay. So the one I see is he's standing in the road.
Well, I've seen a couple. So
okay. Well, and there's some like in the ditches too.
People are gonna think we're crazy, but it's like really weird.
I don't know. I've never seen anything in my field of vision. It's always in my mind's eye. Like, I'm aware that there's something there.
So if anybody lives locally and you drive past
oh my God,
that area at night.
No, now they're going because we've put the thought in their head.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah,
you're the power of suggestion.
Yeah. It's a weird experience. I don't know.
Okay. Anyway,
I haven't seen anything in our house. Felt anything because we have like.
I got the charms.
We've got charms around and all that good stuff.
I've got the thing.
Protection spells, all that good stuff.
I've got the things.
Yeah.
We need to refresh everything, though.
Yeah, we do.
It's been a minute. Anyway, so yeah, now that... Oh, that's weird. I thought I was... there was this thing in the back of my head where I was like, I hope I'm just making this up.
No.
And this is all just a figment of my overactive imagination.
I mean, it's like residual hauntings or like they don't know.
No, the one... He's tried to get in my car a couple times.
Yeah, well.
Like, for sure. And I've had to be like, no, you cannot come home with me.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to get home to his mommy, but his mommy is dead also at this point. That's if you think, like, these are children, these boys that fought in the Civil War, they were children. Young teenagers, young 20s.
It was ridiculous.
Oh, I think that they were even, like, 12-year-old boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think the one that tries to get in the car is 12. He feels like 16, 17 to me.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyway. I did have an experience at the battlefield. Like, the whole battlefield was an experience for me, honestly. But there's this... It's no longer a house, but there was a house that stood on the spot. I think it's, like, just all that's left is, like, a stone fireplace.
Right.
And I felt... like a lot of dread in that spot, but it felt like the family that lived in that house was dreading whatever was happening around them.
Yeah.
And then I went to the spot where I think it was it General Lyon was killed?
I think so.
Yeah. And that spot it felt... I didn't like it.
Yeah.
It was... Ooh.
Yeah.
Like, ooh. Like, ooh.
Was Lyon Confederate or Union?
I think he was Confederate.
Right.
Which is why the elementary school is named after him. And McCullough as well.
Are you sure McCullough's Confederate?
Oh, no. Lyon was a Union.
Yeah.
He was the first Union general to be killed.
Yeah. So, there are a few elementary schools here in our area, and some are controversial because they were named after Confederate generals, which is pretty wild.
Is it Smith? Am I?
No. The one across the street from the boys' school.
Is that not Smith?
No, it's like... So
McCullough was a Confederate. But there is Lyon Elementary. Lyon is the one across from the boys' school.
No, that one's up by Casey's.
Okay.
That's the street from Casey's.
Okay. There's all four... well, there's 5 elementary schools in Republic. 4 of them are within a square mile of each other.
Yeah.
3 of them are within the same block.
It's ridiculous how they set up these elementary schools. The buses, I'm sure...
It's a clusterfuck.
...are congested, and people picking up their kids gets way congested, especially with 2 elementary schools across the street from each other. It's the dumbest...
Well, if you think... So, the 2, McCullough, and the one across the street from that...
Right.
And then the one that's across the street from McCullough is directly across the street from the other one.
Yes, it is, yeah.
So, it's...
It's like 3 within, like, feet of each other.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's so dumb.
It's...
City planning is not a job that should be a job, because these guys don't do anything.
They're dumbasses. They could spread this shit out around the whole town. But whatever. And the high school is outside of town, so fuck it, you know?
Right? Anyways. I did have one experience as a... Well, I covered this in a previous episode when I talked about the Carnton Plantation as well.
Yeah.
I had experiences there, but as a kid, I had a really creepy experience in my bedroom. I had a Britney Spears poster on the back wall.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. Of course. It was Oops, I Did It Again, specifically. It was the Oops, I Did It Again poster. On the opposite wall of that, I had my dresser with my mirror. And I was, being 11 or 12, I was dancing in my bedroom. I probably had, like, Mardi Gras beads on or something. I had my shirt, like, tied up, like a belly shirt. And
so did I.
I, spinned around and caught a glimpse in the mirror, the Britney Spears poster. It wasn't Britney Spears, but, like, a black figure with red eyes.
Oh, shit.
And then as soon as I, saw it, it was gone.
Damn.
Yeah. That was really creepy. And then there was an instance on the stairwell in that house as well that, I didn't see anything. I always felt like I had to run up and down those stairs.
That's wild.
Yeah. Well, not always. There were times when I was fine, but, there were times where I was like, I feel like I gotta, get the fuck off these stairs.
I've had feelings like that in certain places. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I've had experiences. My mom tells me when I was a baby, we lived in a house, and I was she had me on the back of a couch or something. I would look down the hallway and just giggle and wave, and nobody else was home. And then
But man, kids are connected to
that. They see shit.
Yeah.
I'm glad ours don't. Well,
that we know of.
Anyways.
Killian, when we lived in the house on Seeger in Springfield, Killian used to stare at things all the time. We'd be holding Mom, or I would be sitting on the couch, how he used to like to bounce. Yeah. But you had to manually bounce him. And he would just stare one direction or the other the whole time. And Mom commented on it a couple of times. She was like, what is he staring at?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. It's crazy.
Well, and there was the situation with the front room that used to be Keegan's room. Apparently, when we moved out of that house, I had a package that was misdelivered there. And when I went to go pick it up, the girl that was living in the house at the time was like, did you know this place is haunted? She, had her friend, medium, come in Keegan's room, and I always felt a spirit in there. And it was a woman, and it felt like she was resentful of the fact that, we had a kid, but also was, very protective of him. I think something happened to her kids, or one of her or her child, something.
Right.
But I never said anything to anybody, of course, because I didn't want to seem like a crazy person. But this girl that was living in the house, when I went to go pick up my package, told me she had a friend that was a medium that came in and said that there was a protective female spirit in that room.
Yeah. I did not know that.
And there were other spirits in the house, too. I can't remember exactly what they were, but that was the one that I was like, oh my God.
I'm surprised who didn't, bring more shit out.
It's possible he did.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible. Or he has stuff that's attached to him. Probably. But, I don't know.
Anyways. So, I think this was a very good episode.
Oh, thanks.
I love the history of the Alamo and a lot of historical places like that.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I don't need...
I don't love the killing and stuff. It's just the history of knowing what happened, in our...
These big events. You can't change them. They happened, and they have historical meaning for the better or for the worse.
Yeah.
And that doesn't change the spiritual impact they have on the location.
Right. And like I said before, our next episode is going to be a bonus episode of Arkansas. And
Arkansas.
Don't mispronounce that shit. Supposedly, it's a law.
You can't say Arkansas?
Nope.
I've heard Arkansans that have said Arkansas.
Supposedly. I don't know how true this is because I looked it up. It says it's an old law that you can't mispronounce Arkansas. And then some say it's false. It's not true. But who knows? That's probably a thing. I don't know.
Come arrest me.
Yeah, just
they probably will.
I absolutely hate when people say Missouri.
I
fucking
know you
hate
do.
it. I hate it.
I know you. I worked at Chase 10 years ago. And one of the people that worked in my little area, she was an older woman. And when you answered the phone, you had to say, "Hello, thank you for calling Chase Credit Card Services. My name is Ashley from Springfield, Missouri. How can I assist you?" And people apparently would talk to this. She said Missouri. And people, I guess, would ask her. And I heard her multiple occasions say, "Nope, it's not Missouri. It's Missouri. Missouri is the correct way to pronounce it."
No.
She straight up said that.
Fucking dumb.
It's not Missouri. Like, she could physically say the word Missouri. It's Missouri.
And I can't stand our dipshit governor or elected officials saying Missouri. They should fucking know better, those old dumb motherfuckers.
I mean, listen. Can't win them all. I grew up... Well, I didn't grow up. I spent my teenage years in Ohio. You didn't grow up,
that's for sure. I'm just
Go
kidding.
fuck yourself!
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Fuck you! Anyway, in Ohio, there was a town just north of the town that we lived in, Bellefontaine.
Yeah.
Very much French. A lot of the towns in Ohio are French names. But no, you say Bellefontaine, everyone looked at you like you were a fucking crazy person. It's not Bellefontaine, it's Bellefountain.
That's the dumbest
It is
shit.
Bellefountain.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a Mexican restaurant in Bellefountain that on their menu, they said, like, under fajitas, it phonetically pronounced how to say fajita.
Yeah.
And it said that if you said it incorrectly, there would be an additional fee added to your bill.
I don't blame them. It's fajita and it's jalapeno.
I was just getting ready to tell that story. My stepmother in Springfield, Ohio, which was the town south.
Yeah,
So we were in Urbana. Bellefontaine was to the north and Springfield was to the south. In Springfield, there was a Mexican restaurant that we ate at almost every Sunday because it was right next to the church that we went to. And it was called Mi Jalapeno. And my stepmom would say, "We're going to Mi Jalapeno for lunch." And several times I corrected her. I was like, "It's pronounced jalapeno." And she's like, "I know, but you know what? It's just too hard for me to pronounce those Spanish words, so I just say jalapeno and it's fine." And she was adamant that she couldn't roll her R's.
She's a fucking idiot.
She said that she could do it if she made a D sound instead of like rolling her R's, like or like what the fuck?
She's a fucking idiot.
Anyways, I hate her.
Yeah.
To this day. Like, I can't get over it.
I'm glad I've never met her. Anyways.
I'm glad you've never met her, too.
So, anything else?
So what? No.
Anything else? We are hoping to take a trip to Michigan. Hopefully, I get to finally meet your family. We've been together since 2010. You've
only met my grandma.
I've met her grandma. Lovely lady.
Did you not meet any? Nope.
No, I mean, I'm friends with.
You're friends with my aunt on Facebook.
Yeah.
Are you friends with Natasha?
Yeah.
Bartley?
I don't know. Don't think so.
Hmm.
Anyways, I'll get to meet a bunch of family members, and the boys will too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Take a nice 2-week vacation in July. I can't wait.
We're not going to spend 2 weeks in Michigan. I wish we could spend 2 weeks in Michigan. We're going to spend
a week there. I just need the extra time to get away.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Get some stuff done. Hopefully clean out the garage and hopefully make some space to do some amateur woodworking.
Yeah.
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 Hopefully as a side job or side gig.
Yeah.
Side chick. I'm just kidding.
Make a little extra money
on
the side, if you can.
I also want to, I keep saying this, I also want to do video for Patreon. Another side gig.
Okay. Well, yes. You do talk about a lot. You do talk a lot about how you want to do video for Patreon.
I need to do it. I just need to do it. I don't know how we're going to do it.
I know how to do video. Do you not know how to record video?
I mean, do we do it on our phones or our laptops? Or, okay. Well,
you do it on your phone.
We'll figure it out.
If you don't have a camera, which we don't have a camera, we're not going to buy a camera.
No.
I won't even buy a camera for my stuff. Which, objectively, I could use a camera, but I refuse.
Right.
I have a very expensive phone that has a very expensive camera on it. I'm going to get use out of that fucking camera.
Yeah, no doubt. Anyways, yeah, we've got a lot of plans for the summer, and hopefully. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. It's fine. The world's on fire, but I'm fine.
We're fine. So, if you have any stories or requests of anything you want to hear about or know anyone who does, please email us at afraidishpodcast@gmail.com, Instagram and Facebook at afraidishpodcast. I still don't have a website.
We're working on it.
We'll figure it out. All the links will be in the show notes. Also, I'll have pics on the social media. All the links will be in the show notes. Also, rate and review on Apple Podcasts and rate on Spotify. 5 stars, please.
Please.
Unless
you hate me, then...
No. I'm sure people like you. No, yeah, so what I was going to say is after the bonus episode for Arkansas, I'm going to start with the local stuff. And,
oh, yes.
We were talking about the battlefield down the street.
Yes.
That's going to be one of them.
Okay.
But hopefully I'm going to do the place where the coffee shop is.
The Fairbanks.
The Fairbanks. Yes. And Jimmy / James
/ urban superhero.
/ urban superhero.
Wait, no, suburban superhero.
Suburban superhero.
I don't know.
He sent me a video of them.
Yes, I have yet to see this video.
Yeah, it's ghost hunting. And they were asking questions, and they had set a flashlight up to where it's like the back is loose or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the energy of, quote, spirits can push or manipulate.
Yes.
So they would ask the question, and the light would turn on and off, and it's really awesome. So I think that might be my first local episode.
Okay.
So that's really fascinating to me. So I might sit down with Jimmy and talk with him if he's interested in being on the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
if you haven't been to Kaiju Coffee at the Fairbanks and you live in the area, go check it out. Great place. It's so cute. Great coffee.
Right.
Great food. Like, so far, everything that I've tried from there has been fantastic.
He's super nice. He's
super nice.
Very nice guy. And the coffee is really good.
Coffee's pretty stink. I've been on a tea kick since the summer hit, though. Like, the tea is so good. Yeah,
he does like to experiment, and he does make some really good stuff.
Yeah, he makes all of it. Well, not all, but probably 99% of his syrups and stuff are homemade. So if it's like a lavender syrup, he made a lavender simple syrup.
Yeah,
it's so good. The biscuits. I'm not a biscuits and gravy person.
I love biscuits and gravy.
I loved his biscuits and gravy.
Nice.
You had, what did you have? You had like it was a cheese muffin croissant
it
type.
Was really good, yeah.
super good.
Yeah.
The focaccia is so good. Like, just go check them out.
Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah.
Anyways. It's in a very, very historic building on the north side of town.
If you go there and you think you're walking into a school, it's because you are.
Yeah.
It used to be a school. So you're in the right place if you feel like you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, you walk in, you walk up a few stairs, and it's up there to the right. And there's a sign.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, the first time I went there, I had no idea where I was going. I tried to go in a side door and up a stairwell, and I got up to the top of the stairwell. I'm like, what the... no. This is not correct. Anyway.
Yeah. Isn't there like a beautiful garden beat in the back?
Yeah, Springfield Community Gardens. I think it's Springfield Community Gardens has a garden behind there. There's also an active preschool. Right.
Yeah, it's just a big community facility.
It's a community center. There's a lot of the old classrooms are used as office space. One of them is a coffee shop now.
Yeah. That's really nice.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let's get out of here. Okay. And as always, don't be afraid of the dark.
Be afraid-ish of what's in it.
Bye.
Bye.